How's it going, everybody? Tech-Tard Ted here on Friday, 29 December 2023. Yep, it's been a while. I know I keep saying it's going to be a while, and it ends up being a while. But hopefully things are a little more stable, that I can come to you a little more often. But really, I just wanted to make a quick hit today, because I just keep seeing something in my readings and in my ramblings around looking for information about the war in Ukraine. And I like the new narrative. The new narrative is it's a stalemate. Yes, it's a stalemate. Nobody has an advantage over the other. It is a stalemate. And the media peddles this. It's not true. It's not accurate. It's not anywhere close to reality. But that's what they're putting out there. They're putting out there it's a stalemate. And the most incredible thing to me is that people are now calling out a lot of these YouTube channels or newspapers or wherever. They're calling them out on the nonsense. And a few of the comments I saw today, one I thought was really brilliant because it really explains everything. The guy said, there's no stalemate. One side's winning. It's just not the side that you want to win. Therefore, you're coping by saying it's a stalemate. And the Ukrainian cope right now is ridiculous. There's some sort of a giant coup or giant success with the Ukrainians about destroying a Russian landing ship. The Russian landing ship that was destroyed in Crimea. They destroyed it. Praise be, they destroyed the ship. Except it's not quite as a great success as it sounds when you understand the rest of the story. The ship has already been damaged and is stationary, saying in dry dock. That ship's not going anywhere. It's not like they had to go looking for it. They have plenty of time to decide where that target is and hit it. Basically, you're going to see a lot of things in the news right now, and all of it's super cope. It is absolutely super cope. You have to take attention off the fact that the gains that were made during this super fabulous, super stupendous Ukrainian spring, summer, fall offensive that failed fucking miserably. You've got to take off all the attention that the meager gains that did happen are being erased in a matter of weeks by the Russians. And the Russians are being very slow and methodical. There's also a lot of things you don't hear in the press over here. You know, they're talking about, well, Zelensky's going to increase the mobilization, yet they don't want to show you the pictures of the mobilization. They don't want to show you these draft police going out and basically kidnapping people off the streets to go to the recruiting centers to show their documents, get 3 days of training, and then they're sent off to the front to become cannon fodder. So the Azovites and a lot of the other so-called ideology-driven soldiers in the Ukrainian army don't have to die. And that's really where that is. They don't mind shipping off cannon fodder as long as the neo-Nazis in Ukraine and some of the more politically driven folks in Ukraine don't have to suffer, don't have to go. There's just a ton of stuff today. Another one of the comments I thought was great was, when you lose 20% of your country and you're losing little bits more every day, is not a stalemate. And it isn't. It is really a defeat for the Ukrainians. And I think probably one of the cutest things about this, the absolute cutest thing, is now a lot of the Westerners have came over to Ukraine's probably going to have to lose some territory. They're probably going to have to lose some territory. Oh, you know, Ukraine doesn't need all this territory. They can give up their territory, end up joining NATO, because in order to join NATO, no parts of their declared territory can be under any sort of dispute. So in other words, as long as there are Russian troops on Ukrainian soil, NATO cannot admit Ukraine. And I've been saying this all along, unless they decide to change the rules. And if they're going to change the rules, then we got a whole nother new ball game, because we keep moving the goalpost, and we have throughout this war. That Putin may do something that even we would consider pretty fucking rash. Although we keep trying to talk Putin into it. And the rhetoric. You've got, in the Netherlands, you've got one of their top generals saying, we need to prepare for war for the Russians. Yeah, the Russian frontier is 1,500 kilometers away from your ass. And the Russians have that kind of a warfare capability to fucking drive 1,500 kilometers to threaten your fucking borders with enough fucking force to take on NATO when they get there. I got news for you. The United States doesn't have that kind of fucking force anymore to do a land war in Europe. And we're giving away shit every day. This is, just one of the other totally fucking ridiculous things is we keep giving Ukraine all this shit. We train them, we give them equipment, we give them our training, our doctrine, we give them fucking weapons, stuff that we really don't want the Russians to know the technology behind, but we give it to the Ukrainians so the Russians can capture it and figure out what's going on. And we're giving away our war reserve, the stuff that we're going to need when we go to war. And the American equipment doesn't seem to be the fantastic game changer. Another one of those fucking cliches that's been wore out in this war about all these American weapons being game changers. They don't seem to be the game changers that they've been. Now, yeah, part of that is because they're poorly trained Ukrainian conscripts, and they're not well-trained, American boys and girls, which I have a lot of faith and respect for. They do a hard job in difficult terrain. I really don't care much for the generals or the fucking politicians who every chance they get sell the American soldier out. It's just the fucking way shit works. Anyhow, it's really amazing that we're doing all this and nobody seems to be drawing attention to that. It's pretty amazing. But we'll go back to my original topic here about how people are calling people out and calling them out on their fake accusations, like the stalemate, or the Ukrainians may have to give territory where the Russians are already occupying. No, baby. If there's to be a peace tomorrow, the Russians are going to want more than what they're just holding. They're going to want Kharkov and Odessa. They're going to want to basically separate Ukraine from the Black Sea. And there can be no peace. There can be no end to this until that occurs. 110%. This isn't even up for discussion. It really isn't. And the fact that we've gotten to the point where people can call these folks out goes to show that we've lost control of the narrative. Now, how important is this? Well, we'll go back to one of my recurring themes here. We took a lot of pains to keep any narrative out of the press and out of the media and away from the hands of the American people, except for the narrative that comes out of Ukraine or Washington. If it comes out of Kiev or Washington, it's God's honest truth. There can be nothing that can compare with those or compete with those. And we're at a point now where there is so much information slipping through the cracks that we aren't supposed to see, that American people are actually going to be able to start making informed decisions. You notice all those Ukrainian profiles on Facebook, little Ukrainian flags, they're all disappearing. All the Ukrainian flags and so forth, they're disappearing. Now, I go to town, I still wear my Donetsk People's Republic hat, I still wear my Z hats, I still wear all that good stuff. Why? Because my support for the Russians in this has not went away. And yeah, I feel bad for the Ukrainian kids. I feel bad for all the Ukrainians that have been tricked into this. I feel bad for whoever tricked the Ukrainians into constantly provoking Russia throughout this. I feel bad at anybody who's a willing dupe, and there are many willing dupes. And even to a small degree, the Russians are duped in this. Because we kept provoking, kept raising the stakes, kept poking them through our proxy in Ukraine. Until finally, we got the Russians to act. We did all this. Russia invaded. Yeah, I tell you what, if we had the same shit going on with our border with Mexico or Canada, we'd be invading as well. But we don't. So happy, happy, happy. So anyhow, folks, that is my thoughts coming in. Oh, one other thing. Apparently, Russia doesn't have any more missiles again, because they just, the biggest strike so far, and that's funny because they keep ratcheting up, the biggest strike of missiles and drones in Ukraine occurred the night of 28 into the morning of the 29th this morning. So, and the Ukrainians also are finally decided they have to drop the their little game that they shot down 100 or 101% of whatever Russia shot up, because you can't be begging for more shit if what you got is being used effectively. And they finally kind of figured that one out. So anyhow, that's Tactard Ted, man. Y'all have a happy new year. I'll see if I can get back with y'all in a day or two. Bye.